Good morning. Can anyone hear me? Perfect. Okay, this is Samantha Scott, and I work in the Student Accounts Office, part of our Student Financial Services Office here at Gonzaga University. My colleague and I, Louisa Diana, are going to present this morning on a little bit about what our office does, kind of a brief overview of a little bit of everything, and then we'll have time for some Q&A at the end. So little crash course. If you have any questions, please use that chat feature. I see a few of you have already been using it, so if you wouldn't mind just typing your questions in there and we'll work through them at the end of this. So let me get started by just showing you a little bit about preferred methods of contact, especially during the past couple months. Predominantly digital correspondence seems to be our MO. So email, phone numbers, we're all working either remotely or varied hybrid schedules here on campus. So email is listed here on this screen, and our phone numbers to get in touch with each of us. But our office is 4 different departments rolled into one. So student financial services addresses most, if not all, of financial needs that a student faces when they join us here at Gonzaga. Campus Card Services is the first office that we like to point out because that is their Zag card, the ID card that all students and employees use here on campus to facilitate all kinds of stuff. We'll get to that in a second. So Campus Card Services is related to the ID card, the physical identification card here on campus. Student Accounts is my department. That pertains to tuition and billing, as well as payment for that tuition, housing, meal plan, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So financial aid is the department, it is what their name says. Financial aid, they deal with any and all things with financial aid related issues. And then student employment is centered around work study, as well as institutional employment and a few other employment things that we'll talk about as well. Another wonderful thing that we have available recently, it's a fairly new feature, is the ability to schedule appointments with our department. There's 2 links at the bottom of the screen. You'll see the www.gonzaga.edu/appointments will actually take you to financial aid's appointment setting screen right now. Student accounts should be on there by the end of the week, but financial aid is on there right now. So if you have any time that you need to ask a specific dedicated question to financial aid, you can go to that website, and they have some times where you can schedule to actually interact with a person at a dedicated time that you choose. And same thing with Campus Card. If you have any questions or issues related to your ID card here at Gonzaga, that is their website where you can have a Zoom session with our wonderfully talented coworker, Lacey, and she would be happy to help you with any and all questions you have related to Campus Card and Bulldog Bucks, which is another topic we'll speak about in just a second. So really brief overview, obviously it is what it looks like. It's contact information. So if you ever need to look back on this, you can also go to our website. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. So first office, Campus Card Services. Zag card is the name of the ID card. That is the official source of identification here on campus, especially with these last few months. That is the card that grants you access into buildings, as we are particularly locked down in most buildings due to COVID restrictions. We're really trying to keep the Zag cards as up to date as possible. So we recommend that students get used to carrying that with them wherever they go, because they're going to need it to get into doors. But importantly, that also gives you access to your meals and to your Bulldog Bucks, which is a stored value account. The next topic we're going to talk about. Bulldog Bucks is the stored value. You get part of that Bulldog Bucks as your meal plan. Usually it's to supplement your meals. It's not for anything else other than to, go to Starbucks and get a coffee, or go to any of the other dining locations here on campus if you're not eating in the dining hall. So Bulldog Bucks can also be added to. You can load more money into those accounts to use at a few different vendors off campus as well. We actually have more than 20 plus vendors at this time. So there's a bunch here in the community in Spokane that take and accept that Bulldog Bucks. So the Zag card and the Bulldog Bucks. Zag card is very important that students really adhere to the rules of the card, make sure they don't punch holes in them, and they're able to use it at all the different locations here on campus as well as off campus. The most important thing about the ZAG card, ordinarily that is a process. We try to get as many ID cards prepared prior to orientation. So we have imposed some sort of a deadline by the end of July. It's kind of a rolling deadline. That's just a really hard date that we would appreciate to have enough time to be able to prepare all of the ID cards. So if your student has not submitted their photo yet for their ZAG card, we recommend that they use that website, photoupload.gonzaga.edu. There's clear parameters about what their photo needs to look like. So that is very important to get their photo updated and uploaded as soon as possible so that we have ample time before orientation to prepare all those cards. They will be distributed during the move-in process. They will be included with the information that you get when you check in. So housing will be able to deliver those directly to the students during move-in weekend. So, or the days of move-in. So really, the sooner the better. July 31st is our preferred deadline. We will still accept them after that. Don't panic if you haven't done it by July 31st, but they're really easy to follow the parameters, so just make sure you do that. And there's a lot of information about the Bulldog Bucks program, like the vendors that we use for the Bulldog Bucks program, and where you can replace your card, and all of that wonderful information is actually on their website, gonzaga.edu/ZAG card. So refer back to their website whenever you have any questions. And there's going to be a lot of information that comes with your ID card as well about reloading Bulldog Bucks should you ever run out. Next, it's my office, student accounts. So we predominantly do billing for tuition, fees, room and board, study abroad, really tuition related charges. So any course fees, lab fees, those are what we attribute or add to students' accounts, and then we submit billing statements for that. So we use an e-commerce site that's a website, a third-party site through CashNet that delivers all of our billing statements for us. Anytime we need to send a statement, we post those electronically, and then we notify the students directly to their email account through Gonzaga Zagmail. Zagmail is the preferred method of contact for pretty much every department on campus. So we usually recommend that students check in on that at least once a day. And if there's any chance they're not going to be checking in on their Zagmail, we recommend maybe sending it or forwarding that onto their personal email account. But for sure, check Zagmail. There's a lot of information, and I'm 99% sure they've already probably received a good chunk of email from the university. So CashNet notifies the students. We also give the students the opportunity to set up an authorized payer account. So no matter what, students get notified about the bills. There's no way around it. But they can also set up someone else to be responsible essentially for viewing their bills, setting up payment options, all of those different things. So the website that's listed there is the step-by-step instruction for how students create those accounts for you. And then CashNet also gives you the option to make payments. So you can pay directly through their site. You can still mail in a check. We're not saying you can't do that. Or if you have like a savings account or any of those, like 529 savings accounts, any of that stuff you can still do. It's not requiring that you pay through CashNet, but CashNet does give you the option to pay directly from a checking or a savings account for no additional fee. Or you can pay using a debit or a credit card for an additional service fee. It's a 2.75% service fee. But CashNet has a couple of options as well for Western Union, the international payment option. And then we also have the wonderful ability now to actually accept installment plans online. So you can set up a monthly installment plan and have an auto payment, like a bill pay set up so that it'll automatically pay each month. More on that in a minute. A couple really important deadlines that our office is looking at is next week. We anticipate the fall billing statements will be posted online to that CashNet site. So like I said, all students will get the notification email, but if anyone else needs to be notified, they will need to make an authorized payer account on their behalf prior to that time. So we recommend that students take care of that as soon as possible. Not the end of the world. The bills will still be there, even if they set up the account after the bills are out. It's just if you want to receive the notification before the bill goes out, that would be our recommendation, set up the authorized payer account. So August 10th is the fall payment in full deadline, or a payment arrangement is due by that date. We have a few options for fall. There is an option to defer it. Instead of paying it by August 10th, you'll actually have the opportunity to defer the entire balance until September 4th, gives you basically another month to send your payment in. And then same thing for spring semester. We'll bill right around the middle of December. That's when the spring term bills will go out. Students will get the notification as well as the authorized payers. And then that balance is due by January 4th. There will also be a few other opportunities to either defer, set up payments, different arrangements. But by January 4th, we would just need to have either payment in full or a payment arrangement set up. Occasionally, our office also has the opportunity where students either borrow some loans or their parents borrow loans or different things where it results in overpayment on their student account. For parent loans, we actually mail refunds directly back to the parent borrower. But for student refunds, anytime there's a refund resulting on their student account, we have to send the money back to the student. We give them the opportunity to leave the credit on their account. But in terms of refunding, we would actually recommend that students enroll in our direct deposit program. It's called eRefund. Surprise, it's also done through CashNet. It's another window on the CashNet landing page where students can actually elect to sign up for direct deposit. So that website, gonzaga.edu/eRefund, has more instructions, step-by-step instructions about setting that direct deposit account up. So it's a very crash course, but billing, payment, and if you overpay or if there's essentially more money that comes in than they owe, setting up direct deposit. And I kind of briefly brushed over a lot of these things, but CashNet is where you will go as an authorized payer or as a student if you kind of want to have a snapshot of where your account is at this time. Students also have access in Zagweb. It's under the student tile. It's predominantly only for students. So if you ever wanted to look at a running tally total of what's going on in your account, Zagweb is also a great resource for you. That's your student portal that gives you access to everything on your behalf. But dynamic billing in CashNet is now an opportunity for authorized payers to have this information. So we'll roll fees onto everyone's accounts for fall at the beginning of next week, at which point you will be able to see exactly what your charges are, as well as your pending financial aid. And then we'll send you a bill as well, so you have that snapshot of exactly what your account looked like at that day. So you'll be able to see that in real time. If you change your meal plan, if you do any of that stuff, it'll keep track of it in that dynamic billing section. We also give the opportunity for installment plans through CashNet. Assuming you're registered for fall, you'll have the opportunity to set up the 4 installment plans or 4 monthly installments through CashNet. They won't be available or an option for you to enroll in until we bill for fall. So we just say we recommend waiting until the fall statement is available to view, at which point you'll get the email, the bill's ready, and then you will at that point be able to enroll in the installment plan. So this is a new process this year where we are using CashNet for our installment plans. So for most of you, if you're newer students, this may not even be a big deal because you've never known about it before. But if you have siblings or if you've used our CashNet site before and you have any questions, Student Accounts is more than happy to help answer any questions you guys might have. And with the installment plans, like I mentioned earlier, the automatic payment is an option. So you can set up monthly payments to schedule automatically come out from your direct deposit or from your bank account or your credit or debit card. So, and then finally, one great new feature that we are happy to offer this year is going to be the presentment of the 1098-T tax statement. For every previous year, students have only had the ability to view this in Zagweb. So now we will have the Zagweb copy as well as a version in CashNet that they can elect to release or display to their authorized payer. They will also have the ability to turn that off. So if you don't want your family to have access for some reason, you don't have to display it on there. We will still have the option to mail the physical form as well as opt out of the mailed form. So there's all kinds of control that you can choose within that CashNet landing page. So if you have time now, prior to the semester starting, just head into that CashNet site. Students log in through Zagweb, and once they set up an authorized payer account, if they want to set up an authorized payer account, the authorized payers can go in and look at all the wonderful features of CashNet as well. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Louisa. She's going to help out with the next couple of slides.
Hi, can you guys all hear me? I'm going to assume yes, since I unmuted. So financial aid is going to be any kind of funding that you receive that's such as scholarships, grants, loans, employment, or it's going to be a combination of all of those things. Typically, to receive financial aid, you do need to fill out the FAFSA form, and you fill that out each year. That is what's going to make you eligible for any federal, state, or Gonzaga-based grants and scholarships, specifically that first year. You don't need to keep filling that out to get the Gonzaga grant and scholarship funding in the future, but you would need to fill out the FAFSA form each year to continue to receive federal loans and federal grants or scholarships. You're going to do that application each year between October 1st and February 1st. So ideally, you guys have all already done that for this upcoming 2021 year, but you'll want to put on your calendar for October to do it again for the 2021-22 year. Once we receive that information, we put together a financial aid offer and we email information to the student to have them go to Zagweb to accept or decline the financial aid offers that are available to them. I would recommend that all of you guys have your students go and check Zagweb now to make sure you have accepted or declined all offers for the 2021 year, because if those are still in offered status, they are not going to show up on that billing statement that's going to be issued in the next week. You should also be looking at Zagweb for any unsatisfied requirements that may be needed. Sometimes students are selected for a process called verification. The government says that we need to review some additional information, and so we'll ask you for that, and then we review that to make sure you're eligible for the funding that's needed for. So make sure you fill out or give us any of those documents as soon as possible so that there's no holdup in the financial aid disbursement. Also, first year loan borrowers do need to do a promissory note, which is called a loan agreement, and complete entrance counseling. And we do email students to their Zagweb account, letting them know if they need to do that, and also giving a link to the website. Student employment is the opportunity to work on or off campus. There are also some non-work study jobs available. Those are called institutional positions, and those are going to be on campus. Work study is not required. Federal work study is on campus, and that is a need-based work program. And then state work study is also a need-based work program. So students receive those funds through the FAFSA application, and those jobs are usually in the Spokane community. Eligibility for these funds determined by the FAFSA form. You're going to find information on Zagweb, and there is an online job board that will be available at the end of July, beginning of August, and you'll want to watch your emails for information on that. We expect federal work study information to show up toward the end of July, state work study information toward the beginning of August. We're still working out a few things with employers due to the COVID restrictions, so that's kind of why that's a little bit slower there on the state work study side. You'll also need to make sure to bring original documentation when you come, such as an original passport, original birth certificate, or anything like that that may be required. And the emails that you get from student employment are going to go over all of the information that you need. And I want to really encourage students who have work study to use it. It's a great opportunity to, you make connections on campus. Lifelong connections. I actually started off in the financial aid office as a work study student, and I never left. So it ended up being my career as a result of that work study job. So just some things to keep in mind. Oh, and one other thing, when you get your billing statement from student accounts, if you find that the amount that's left owing is still more than your family can afford, you can look at getting a Parent Plus loan. And if you need information on where to apply for that, it's at the studentaid.gov website, or just email us and we can send you a direct link. Okay, thanks.
Thank you all. So this is our department website. It links off to each individual department where you can also look for additional information, but I think we have a few questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, but I will go. You can see me live and in person. Hi, everybody. I'm Samantha. Okay, so chat. Let's look at this guy. Tuition fees. Well, let's see. Let me pop this out. tuition and fees, room and board installment plans available. There are installment plans for sure. We haven't billed anybody yet for fall, so the tuition and fees brochure was emailed out directly to students, incoming students. They went out on May 1st. So if you look in your email for an email from student accounts, for incoming students, returning students, the email went out on May 4th. But actually, if you go to our website, our department website, the SFS, actually, I'll put it back up. Doesn't hurt anything. So the SFS website is probably the most appropriate for looking at different information about. Sorry, this is all, it's all happening. This is our website. Okay, so that is more information about the installment plan. If you have specific questions, though, we are available. We're happy to help answer any specific questions pertaining to your specific student and their arrangement and what any special conditions you might have. And we're happy to help accommodate and work with you guys directly. For sure, the 529, actually, I'll go in order here. So the next one. So Parent Plus loan information, Louisa, do you want to?
Sure, and I'll apologize. My cat is meowing at me, so you may hear her too. You would just go to studentaid.gov, and then there is a kind of a listing of topics at the top, and you just look for the apply for aid, and then it should bring up apply for Parent Plus loan. Okay. So studentaid.gov is the website.
For the Parent Plus loan. So once you get the bill, if that's easier to look at the bill, and then you'll know exactly how much you would either need to apply for. I think there's also an option to do maximum, Louisa, where they can say.
There is. And usually that might be the easiest if you do maximum, and then you can call us or email us, and we can then adjust that amount so that it just covers the billing if that's what you want. Or if you want a set amount of a refund, let's say you want $1,000 to use for books, you can let us know, and then we can adjust the Parent Plus loan so that it would give you $1,000 refund.
Perfect. Okay, so the next question is 529. I can answer that. So 529 is a savings program a lot of states, if not all states, offer. And unfortunately, there's not a universal, this is how you're supposed to do it. Each 529 program is sort of handled in their own method. So for instance, the Washington GET program is the 529 program specifically for Washington State. You would actually log in directly to their portal, at which point you would determine that we are the school that your student is attending, and they have the information to send the funding directly to us. So you set up directly with your 529 program how much you want to send, when do you want to send it, and they'll send it directly to us. Different states, they may mandate something else where they actually have to release the money directly to us. I don't know, unfortunately, enough to say that all states go one way or the other. It's really, unfortunately, a question you would have to reach out directly to your 529 account. But ordinarily what happens is you would essentially log into their website and request the funds. You want it by this date, it goes to this address, and they just mail us a physical check. If you would prefer to have it sent to you, I'm not sure if that's an option for all states. Same thing, you would just check with your 529 program. One of the payment options we do offer, where I had mentioned that a payment decision is due by August 10th, is a deferment. The deferment gives you another month until September 4th to get your payment in. There's no fee to do that option. We would just have your student sign off on that deferment form and get that form into us by August 10th. But that would actually give you another couple weeks to work with your 529 account to get that payment in. There will be a deferment option as well for spring. So if you want to wait until after the first of the year to send the funds directly from your 529, it'll give you until the end of the first week of the semester to send your payment in.
The deferment also gives time if you decide to do the Parent Plus loan. You could then view the bill first and then apply for the loan after that by marking that deferment. That gives us time to get it all processed.
And the video is recorded for sure. It's recorded on my computer, so I will forward that on to our parent and family office, and they will relay that out appropriately. So I promise this is all recorded, and we will get that out to everybody if you want it. Is there an advantage to using Bulldog Books? If your student is living on campus and has the resident meal plan, it's actually built into each one of the resident meal plans, of which we have 5 of them. Platinum, Gold 16, Silver 12, blue 225, and white 175. So every single one of those meal plans has a set amount of Bulldog Bucks actually included in them. And those Bulldog Bucks, like I said, are to supplement the meals. So if your student gets, a little bored of eating in the dining hall every single day, those are to help accommodate eating at any of the other locations we have on campus. We have a few little bistros, cafes, different restaurants around campus that they can eat at. More importantly, though, that gives them the ability to go to those off-campus locations like Qdoba, Pita Pit, McDonald's. We even have a grocery store, URM, cash and carry nearby that they can use their Bulldog Bucks at. So if they don't want to eat in a restaurant or a dining hall every single day, they can use those Bulldog Bucks to actually supplement with some groceries. So Bulldog Bucks are great. You can load money at any time, and there's a wonderful website where you can relay that information out to family members, maybe if they want to give your student, a gift for graduation or something like that. They can always load money in, or Christmas. That's another good one. So Bulldog Bucks are great. And your students actually have the ability in Zagweb to track that balance. So at any given time, they can know exactly how much is left in their Bulldog Bucks. There's also a wonderful app that's coming out later in the fall semester. So that'll give you the ability, or them the ability, to actually log in and view their swipes, their balance on the go. But Zagweb is able to be viewed remotely too on their devices. So the next question, Louisa, says, can a student work on campus if they are not eligible for a FAFSA work study?
They can. That would be an institutional position. You would just need to check with the different departments to see if they're able to hire a student as an institutional job, which is on-campus non-work study.
And then generally speaking, what is the rate for the Parent Plus loan?
It's right around 5%, and I know I should know that off the top of my head, but I can do a quick Google. And because it did go down from last year to this year. Sam may have it quicker than I do. And then one other thing to keep in mind with the parent loan is the government does charge a loan fee for you to take out that loan. So that's something else to just keep in mind. And it's like right around 4%. Oh gosh, apparently I can't find anything. Well, I'm going to look for that. If there's another question, I'll come back on.
Okay, so a few more questions here about the work study. Let me look. My cursor is missing here. Okay, so if the proof for work study is a student guaranteed employment. I know I'm putting you on the.
I would say, yeah, that's okay. I would say that there's not necessarily a guarantee, but usually there are more positions than students. So I think that the student should be able to find a job. It just may not be the one that's their first choice.
Kim asked, do you have to set yourself up as an authorized payer if you want to add to your students' Bulldog Bucks? So the wonderful thing about Bulldog Bucks is we've made it pretty easy to load funds. There is a lot of information that's going to come with their Zag card about reloading those funds. But if you actually go to the campus card website, this www.gonzaga.edu/Zag card, that website has the link to actually go to load the Bulldog Bucks. Authorized payer on our account is only for billing and payment for the tuition and fees. So Bulldog Bucks, anyone can do. You just need to know the student's ID number and then obviously make the payment. But it'll guide you through all of that process. So you would need to know your student's ID number to load the funds. So if your student has it, they can forward it on to a family member, anybody that wants to help add funds to their account. And then meal plans, we have a form that is available in Zagweb. So yet again, that student portal that students have available to them. There will be a page, it should be going live today or tomorrow. We will put a notice in Morning Mail, I would say by Monday. So Morning Mail, let's talk about that. Morning Mail is a daily notification that goes out to our students, staff, and faculty. Basically just a newsletter of what's going on campus, important information for students. especially. So our office, we use it, student accounts, for pretty much notifications about meal plans, tax information. We want to make sure students update their mailing address. If we're mailing a 1098T, we also would prefer that we use it for just reminders of those sorts. I know financial aid, occasionally there's different funding opportunities that come up throughout the year. So they either use a combination of direct email directly to the students that are eligible to apply for it, or they will post something in the morning mail to alert all students if it's something that's available for all students to apply for. So morning mail, we will notify students once that meal plan form is turned on in ZagWeb. But I would say by the end of this week, probably just plan on it by Friday, they'll be able to go into ZagWeb, see the plan that they currently have, and then they'll be able to choose a different one. For adding a meal plan, if your student doesn't even have a meal plan, if they're not going to be living on campus, we would recommend that you just email us. That's the easiest way to do it rather than trying to maneuver anything. So studentaccounts@gonzaga.edu, and we're happy to help. And obviously the school semester doesn't start until the end of August, so meal plans won't actually be, or yeah, September 1st. Meal plans won't be loaded until closer to the start of the term. So we have plenty of time to work with students if they don't know which plan they want and they want to kind of think about it. We still have time. We can work with you on that. Okay, another work study. How does the student pay back the work study? Is it taken directly out of their check, or do they send payments?
So work study is not anything that they pay back. It's money that they earn for a job. So essentially they're just going to be able to earn the amount of money that they were awarded in work study, and it would go to them directly as the paycheck. And then they can do with it as they need to.
Perfect. Okay, so, and there's also an opportunity as a federal work study employee, because they get the entire paycheck directly to themselves. If for any reason, or if that's part of the agreement you have with your student, you'd like to have them use that towards tuition. If you are set up on an installment plan, you can certainly have your student stop by and see us, and we'll be happy, or reach out to us at this point. It's reaching out to us. Once they have their position, we will have information about signing their paycheck over to their student account rather than them receiving the paycheck. It would all get applied to their account balance, which they could help contribute with the monthly installments. Or if you're paid in full for the fall semester, any money that they earn for fall, if they have it signed up to hit their student account, we can just save it as a credit to be applied all towards the spring semester balance. So in theory, it could help pay off or go towards the spring balance. A lot of times, though, what we find is most students want to have the paycheck directly deposited to themselves, and then they either are tasked to log in and pay each month, drop off a check, those sorts of things. They prefer to keep control of a little bit of it for living expenses, and then make a set amount payment based on whatever your family works out with them. So it's kind of, we're willing to work with students. The default option right now is to have students get directly everything they've earned from work study. So they'll get that sent by direct deposit directly to them. If for any reason they want it to just all go to their student account, we would be happy to help talk through their options with them. But it is an all or nothing type of thing. So if they have their work study go to their direct deposit, they get it, they can control how much they want to give us. If they turn it over to their student account, we get it all. So every paycheck, it'll just come directly to their account. So those are the things you may want to talk over your student. If they feel confident or comfortable enough with being in control each paycheck, then direct deposit is the default option. Okay, so a few more questions.
So if a student earns more than their work study amount, that's usually going to be up to the department. The department would then cover anything that's above the work study with institutional, or we would see if we could increase the work study award to include any amount that they earned over that amount. So yes and no. I would say yes, because usually we can make some kind of accommodation, but typically most students just earn what their award is.
There's one more meal plan question. If the student picks a meal plan and realizes in October they don't use it as much, can they change it or increase it? After the first week of the semester, they can no longer decrease their meal plan. Really, students actually start using it pretty frequently. So at that point, it's really only if they run out of meals that we do increases. And they can do that throughout the entire semester. So if in October they've run out of swipes, if they went with the 175 swipes, and they've swiped their buddies in every day or something, and they're out of it by October. Something to talk about. We would recommend that they stop by and see us, and we'll talk over the options with them. But really, the most important thing is we can always increase it. But after the first week of the semester, we won't be able to decrease the plan based on the timing of the meal plans and the budgeting and everything. So if for any reason your student has a problem and they're really not able to use the plan, there's also an option to be exempted from the plan. That involves a little more research from a colleague of ours. It's the meal plan selection, meal plan, I'll look into that for you, meal plan selection group. And they have a website where you can actually reach out if for any reason you have dietary restrictions or something's just not working right for your student. They can submit an appeal to get that waived. So we can still do that. They recommend that students reach out earlier rather than later so that we can try to get that a solution in place before the semester starts, especially with Sodexo, our Zag Dining, our dining hall services here on campus. We have a lot of resources available that we can try to help accommodate if there's any sort of those dietary restrictions. And then since school will be virtual after Thanksgiving, we'll be able to be refunded for room and board if the student is not on campus. That is an ever-changing process. So we will have more information about that regarding what it's going to look like and how the amounts are going to be processed actually into the semester. I think that's still kind of up in the air based on how the state's doing our phasing of coming back to work and to campus. So unfortunately, I don't have the specifics on that yet, but there will be additional information relayed to all of our students in morning mail as well as direct email, and I assume to the parents, but that's still in progress, and we don't have a specific timeline or what the calculations look like just yet. During orientation weekend, will meals be provided, or is the meal plan available during those few days before the school starts? So move-in day is usually the kickoff. So as soon as your student moves in and they have their ID card, that's when their meal plan starts working. So if you're part of the move-in hours that start, I believe, on that Wednesday before classes begin, your meal plan would be available for the students to use at that point. Then,
okay, our work study funds hourly rates, are the hourly rate for work study the same, or do they differ by job? Typically a student in their first year is going to probably be getting minimum wage, and that's for all of the on-campus jobs, but I would say they do differ by job, and usually a second year student might earn a little bit more. And state work study is completely up to the employers what the hourly rate is, so it varies. And then also I'll go back, and I don't know if everybody saw this, but the federal Parent Plus loan interest rate for 2021 is 5.3%. And then the loan fee, which is the fee that the government keeps for processing the loan, is 4.236%.
So that means if you borrow, for instance, a $10,000 parent loan for the fall, they're going to keep 4% of the loan before they send it to us. So, or 4.236%. So for sure, when you're applying for a Parent Plus loan, if you'd like to know the specific amount or need help with the calculations or any of that, we are more than happy to help because it's wonderful. Trying to maneuver it yourself, we're very eager to help sort that out with you guys. So for sure, email SFS. That's our department, our division email, sfs@gonzaga.edu. And we're happy to help go over specific requirements or what you would need to apply for the parent loan.
Yeah. Minimum wage in Washington State is set to be $13.50 per hour.
Pretty decent. And typical work hours, I think 20 or less. Is that usual?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's about 15 hours a week at the most.
I think 20 is the max, isn't it?
Yeah, 20 is the max.
Work more than 20. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And employers, I mean, on campus and off campus, are very aware that the student is there for school. And so they're willing to usually work with the student's schedule and be pretty accommodating to that.
So I guess if you guys can still hear me and Louisa, if you guys have any questions, this is our department email address. Some of you sent private messages. For sure, I will get responses directly to you. But if you have any questions, that's the preferred email address to send any and all questions to. And our website is the same general idea. You would just go to gonzaga.edu/SFS if you have any questions. Awesome. Yeah. And there's going to be a ZagTalk every Wednesday at noon. So more wonderful topics. We have a lot of great departments here on campus that are chock full of information. But everyone check your Zagmail. Tell your students to check their Zagmail if they haven't already done so. If they have any issues with logging into Zagmail, that's their email account here. Make sure they reach out to our IT staff as soon as possible, because there's going to be a lot more information coming their way the closer we get started to the semester. So for sure, email. And any other questions related to student accounts or SFS, those are our email or our website. Thank you, guys. I'll hang out for a couple more seconds just in case anyone else has questions. Louisa, I'm sending you a message. I don't know if you can hear me.
Love that. So we would want the parent to apply for the plus loan first, try to get denied, and then once we get that denial, we could then add the additional unsub loan, because we would want that in the file in case we're ever audited.
So to
If they can't,
clarify, yeah, sorry, just to clarify, anybody that's still listening, or obviously since we're recording, the question was if parents were not eligible to borrow a Parent Plus loan due to whatever reason, they just didn't qualify for it. They asked if the child can take out an additional loan. So Louisa was just clarifying.
So the answer is yes. If the parents apply for a Parent Plus loan and they're denied, then we're able to add additional unsub loan to the student's award. And we would ideally want the parent to apply for the loan to get denied before we did that. If for some reason they can't apply for the loan, then we can, we have a form that we have them fill out, and then we're able to do it without that application. But ideally, we want the application first.